Today we visit arguably the greatest set ever known in a movie. And number 85, it's spring, summer, autumn, winter, and spring. Welcome to Long Play Video. Welcome into Long Play Video. We're running through my favorite 100 films of all time. If you don't know the structure yet, then I feel sorry that this is the one that you're going to discover the structure on. But today's film is number 85 on the list, which is spring, summer, autumn, winter, spring. That pause is actually the three dots that's in the title. I think nice. Like a bit of grammar to go with the title. I know that you haven't watched this one, Kev. So here's the DVD, tell us a little bit about the film.
Yeah. So interesting. Yeah. Okay. So I definitely know absolutely nothing about this film. I don't know if we were talking about something else. Wasn't there a romantic comedy? Wasn't there one that Ethan Hawke was in?
Before sunset and after sunrise, and
right.
Yeah, no.
I might watch that one instead.
Well, I mean, you didn't really like Ethan Hawke, did you?
Oh no, I don't mind Ethan Hawke. He's all right. Yeah, he'll be decent, though.
Those are very dialogue heavy, so I would say this is not that. So
yeah, okay. Okay, I really should go and get my mind tested after the debacle with The Great Escape, and then this one. I thought it was that film, so it's not that film. So for anyone who hasn't seen the DVD or hasn't seen the film, so yeah, the DVD. Oh, I mean, it's a very nice, picturesque scene of looks like an older gentleman and a little boy on a rowboat. I guess it's set in Asia, I'm presuming. And there's like it's on a big lake, and there's plenty of greenery around. So, I mean, my thoughts, having looked at this, is there's not much going on here. This is going to be interesting. This could get quite boring quite quickly. So is it a Korean film? Is that?
It is, yeah.
Yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, okay, interesting. So is it subtitled?
Yes. Yeah, it is. I think first on the list that we've done that's not in English, I think, actually. So.
Yeah. This will be good. I might see if they can get some dubbing from Netflix and see how that goes. Yeah, okay. So when did it come out? It came out in 2003. It's got the guy from Squid Games.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, so let's read up about it. On a lake set in a valley in the depths of the mountain sits an isolated dwelling. A Buddhist monk and his young apprentice live in harmony with nature. Oh, how long is this film? It's an hour and 43. That's definitely at least 20 minutes too long. As the seasons change, brilliant, spring, summer, autumn, winter.
Maybe spoiler.
Yeah. And the year passes, the carefree child apprentice becomes a young man filled with desire. Andy, I'm looking forward to understanding why this is on your list. I'm getting bored just reading the description. Despite the continuing wisdom that his master imparts, the young man finds he's emotionally unprepared for the arrival of a young woman. Dealing with feelings of guilt and jealousy, he's forced to confront a darker side of his nature. Resolving to cleanse himself, he serves a penance in the form of religious mantra. Later, as winter comes and death makes way for new life, the man prepares to take on the role of teacher. Well, wow. This definitely doesn't have Ethan Hawke in it. Yeah. All right. Well, I mean, while I prepare myself mentally for the fact that I now have to watch this film, you could tell me, when did you first watch this delightful movie?
Yeah, so I think I watched it, and I'm not 100%. I don't have anything written down for it, but I think I watched it sort of around 2005, 2006. And it was at the end of me really kind of getting into Chinese, Japanese, and Korean sort of cinema as was. And that's the thing, it was a very different time, that it was still quite difficult to get films from Asia, and Korean cinema kind of especially hadn't really gone mainstream. That kind of went more mainstream in the West, obviously, with Old Boy, and then that kind of it kind of opened up a lot of other films, and that kind of path came in. So this was kind of, you had Crouching Tiger, you had Hero, House of Flying Daggers, and those were kind of just kind of almost going more mainstream in the West.
Yeah. All great films, Andy, that we could have happily watched.
Yeah. Well, maybe one of them we'll get to watch later on.
Okay.
And then this was kind of at the end, and it's like, it's very different to those.
Yes.
But just immediately I was kind of struck by, I mean, it's just absolutely beautiful to watch. I would say, like, it's just stunning. And it is just completely different. I don't think for better or worse, you're not going to watch a movie like this too often. There's not that many movies like this around. I would say, it was on Roger Ebert's top movies of 2003. It's one of his movies to watch before you die. It's voted like top 10 Korean movies ever. So it does come with pedigree. It's not like a small hidden gem that I've found on the back of a market trolley or something like that. So
I feel you're trying to convince me. I think the DVD cover's lost me, and you're trying to pull me back. It's a valiant effort.
It's not a great DVD cover, I would say, but also I don't think the DVD cover, that's kind of not the point. It's funny that it's a 15. I know why it is 15. And then so I watched this during COVID as well. I put it on
as a rewatch.
I put it on the big screen, and that was just great, because it is a meditation in a lot of ways, and we'll kind of get onto that. But like, it's a meditation on like time passing, and like the flow of time, which is obviously was interesting during COVID, and time progresses no matter what. And then because it is so stunning, it's such a beautiful setting that it's in, that obviously that was nice, because I'd already gone out for my one walk that day. So wasn't allowed to see any nature outside of that.
You weren't going to visit Boris Johnson at one of his many parties?
I'd taken my champagne and was going over to Downing Street. It was someone was leaving, so that's fine. As long as it's just if someone's leaving, that's fine.
Okay. So more of a meditation film. That's putting me back a bit. You're doing well. This is getting me closer. Well, it's good that you've rewatched it as well then, and so you've got a good idea that you definitely, obviously why it is on your list. And I can see more so why that would be interesting, especially during COVID, as you said. Probably a similar sort of time in that, you're thinking about time passing a lot more at that point. So so you've just rewatched it during COVID. So why is that sort of a link as to why it's on your top 100?
Yeah, and I really enjoyed it at the time. I think it was also kind of when I was kind of not getting into it. I think it was probably kind of towards the end of me kind of discovering meditation and using meditation, which I, for me personally, had quite a profound effect on my life, I think, in a lot of ways. So it really sort of, has helped me kind of, shift, I think, from kind of one life to another in some ways. So it is, and it is sort of Buddhist. So there's a lot of kind of references to things that on the first watch I didn't really get, and on previous on further watches, I get them now, but also I don't really think that they're that important. It's kind of the same with me in any religion. It's like, take what the religion means, but don't actually listen to the religion. From that point of view, it's not a linear story. So not a lot happens, but within that, Like there is almost everything happens. It sounds
Yeah.
cliche, but it is like,
Yeah.
it is all about how everything is interlinked, how, you know, you see the lives of the people. And yeah, it is just something that I do think is a meditation. It is, you know, watch it. I would say don't take any notes, don't dual screen, just kind of give yourself up to it. If you can't sit there and watch this for an hour and 43, there isn't, you know, there's very few car chases. There's only two
Yep.
explosions.
Yep.
There's no explosions.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, for me, almost, yeah, you need to be able to sit there for an hour and 3/4 and watch this. And I think it's something that is engaging enough to do that, but it is also like, yeah, there's lots to notice, there's lots to see. The sound is amazing because it's all very natural sounds and stuff.
Yeah, okay.
So it is, yeah, it's not something, you know, you don't put it on a Saturday night maybe when you're sort of amped up and you want to see an action movie. But it is, yeah, it is a great film, and it is something that I think, yeah, more people should see and be able to see, because it does speak to that kind of, yeah, like meditation and focus on one thing. And
and there's a lot more, I think, especially, I don't know if it was necessarily Squid Games or before that, but there's a lot more acceptance and I guess more desire for people to watch films with subtitles. I think there was a point in time where people would have just said, no, I'm not watching that. If it's not in my language, well, especially more so English, I'm not going to watch it. But yeah, I think it's interesting. It's a different time now. There's a lot more really good, you know, quality films and TV series coming from all over the world. And I think people have realized that and are open to watch those, even if it's not in their native language. So yeah, I like that. So it's on your top 100. It's led through the meditation piece. That sounds good. You're right. You're almost making me feel bad. Like, if you can't sit through this, and then I was thinking, because I know we spoke about this, is that this is an hour and 43 minutes. If I can't sit through a nice peaceful hour and 43 minutes where I sat through more than 2 hours of terribleness of Fast Furious 10, then I should definitely have words with myself.
Yeah, and you should definitely not go on a 72-hour silent retreat.
yeah, maybe they do that. Although maybe this could convince me. I might go in spring and then just come out in summer. Who knows what could happen? Yeah. Okay. And so I guess in terms of this film, there might not necessarily be something you're looking forward to as like a scene, but maybe more so the whole concept of it as a whole, you know, that whole feel, like you said, the scenery, the music, you know, that meditative sort of feel. So is that more what you're going to be looking forward to?
Yeah. No, it's just, I mean, it is just stunning. It is just beautiful to watch. It's a great setting. It's the monastery is on a lake that kind of, just floats across the lake. So from that perspective, it's almost sort of like the Studio Ghibli, or, you know, sort of where it's just very, you know, ethereal and very, it's just very peaceful. So, I would say it's look forward to not having the phone on, not doing anything else. I mean, there's barely any dialogue. There is some, but there's barely any dialogue as well. So I would say
I could
put your phone in the other room so that you're not tempted to be distracted, and just watch and just like inhabit the scenery and the film. It would be my suggestion.
Yeah, I could see how that would be the case. There's not going to be much dialogue. I think I'm just looking on the back of the DVD. Special features are you can have it in Dolby 2.0 or Dolby Digital 5.1. So they're the two highlights of the extras on the DVD. So that probably leads to the fact there isn't too much dialogue in this.
And I think you know, I don't think you know, obviously I'm starting to get my reputation even through the pod of like the weird films that I like. and this isn't one of them, but it's also there's no other films on the list that are like this. You know, obviously we kind of spoken, your Tree of Life has come up a few times. That's kind of a little bit of a comparison of kind of what they were trying to do. I think was something along these lines.
Okay.
But it's again, for me, this kind of works more, and it's a bit heavy-handed on a couple of the analogies, but at the same time, it's just kind of about the setting and about kind of seeing the time flow, which isn't like, it's not in real time or anything. It's not going to take you a year to watch it.
Whoa, yeah. I'll be interested to see what it's like as well. So 2003, so 20 years ago. But in terms of the Serenity, I guess it's probably going to stand up reasonably well, because it's just really the settings of the country, by the sounds of what you're saying.
Yeah. I want to say, there's, I don't know, what's the film where it says it's timeless, and then they say, it does run a little bit long. I don't really want to use the term timeless, but I mean, it's sort of, I guess it's difficult to know when it's set to a certain extent, because like the entire point is that, where, you know, the monastery, nothing really changes, but then there's always change everywhere. And, you know, one year could roll into another, but every year has the change as the seasons go. And actually, like, that's kind of, part of it is that like meditation on time, and the fact that if you're noticing enough and if you're watching, then, you know, then every day is different. So.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you what, you've pitched it well. I'm, after seeing that DVD, I was about to walk out the shop, but, I'm still here. I'm ready to listen to it in a Dolby 5.1 to get the best experience.
It's a very slow day in the store, so we can we can put it on and see what we think. Just let's even, you know what, let's put the close sign up. Let's not have anyone walk into the shop halfway through and distract us. We may even put the shutters down. It needs all of our attention. We'll put it on, you go and put it on, and I'll just mention what I think you'll think of it.
All right, off I go.
As Kev goes off to put the video in, I think do I think he will like it? I think it will go one of two ways. Either he'll be super into it, or he won't like it at all. I mean, that's probably true for most films, but I think with this one especially. So we'll just have to wait and see.
Dark, I think, is possibly disturbing. Yeah. I feel like you've sold me a complete curveball on this. I was thinking, actually, this might be quite nice. It's going to be serene, and it felt more like a propaganda video for murderers camp. I was just like, this is where you go to breed murderers. Like, what has happened? Spring was so nice, and the rest of it is just awful.
It's obviously Squid Game, inspired. You just can't not see it now.
I know. It was just, like spring obviously sets up, but then I understand the concept of what they're trying to do, and like, you know, you make mistakes, and you know, you come back, and you know, it's like a chain of life, but using murder as the chain of life seems a little bit extreme.
I mean, there's only one murder, right? There's only one.
Oh,
murder.
Look at you! There's only one murder. Well, that's fine then. Okay. So let me ask you this question then. So there is only one murder. However, at the end, the next kid comes in who's just randomly dropped off by somebody. We don't even know if it's not like they're 4 or 5, and so you think, they might be a bad kid or a baby. So it's like, why are they just randomly being dropped off?
Yeah.
And then there's more than one murder. There's the master kills himself, which is technically murder. The woman dies in the ice.
Yeah.
So there's tons of murder. And then the kid at the end he's playing around with the animals again, and you're like, well, here we go. This is set up for him to be a murderer. So
this is the cycle.
Yeah. So then I thought, well, clearly the master must have been a murderer as well. So here we go. It's murderers camp. So
you looked inside and it's murderers all the way down.
Yeah. And as I got near the end of this, or maybe as I get to sort of autumn, winter, I was seriously starting to think, should I be worried about Andy? Is this something? Do I need to start making an intervention here? Have I got to see, just check the tiff's okay?
Everyone's still alive. There's no murders in the building. Interesting.
So yeah, so you had a different view than I'm imagining.
Yeah. I found it still really, really good. I think kind of on the part of the kid and it's like from spring. I think for me, what I take away from it is kind of, it's almost like it's almost critical of, like, not even Buddhism, but like it's critical of thinking that there's sort of some magic in being in a sort of random monastery on a lake, and it's sort of saying, look, it just because you've grown up in a monastery doesn't mean that you're going to be good. Like, you have to do the work. You have to seek the inner peace. You have to do everything. Like when he starts praying because he's got to feel, and he's like, well, you never prayed before, and it's just like, he's grown up completely on a monastery, but he's never prayed, and then because of that, he's wronging, and he continues down that path. And I think if anything, it's about the demystification of like, oh, well, we've got this kid, so we'll drop them off at a Buddhist, and then he'll grow up and he'll be really like a Buddha, or he'll be really like inner peace. When obviously, that's not going to happen, because first of all, growing up as a kid in a monastery on a lake probably isn't the healthiest thing of all time. And secondly, it's, you don't have the family and the compassion around you. So it's almost, I take it as a bit of a like, just because you do the actions doesn't mean that you're going to get the results that you want.
Yeah. And I think I would have come to that final conclusion if it wasn't for the fact that there's so many things they could have done when he gets older, as a lesson that gets taught. He could have got involved in drugs. He could have, been a burglar or something, or there's lots of things there's so many things that could have been an illustration of his life going like the wrong way that anticipated, like stretching right to murder. I was like, this seems too far. And then the fact that they add it in at the end with the kid at the end is doing exactly the same, then you're implying, whoa, so that means we've got another murderer coming. That's the way I took it. Whereas if it had just been something a bit different, you could have been like, okay, I get it. Like you said, maybe just having your entire life dedicated to like complete, like being in the middle of nowhere forever, just with one person, and trying to sort of, like you said, become that sort of stoic Buddhist. That's not necessarily gonna send you down the path that you anticipate. But yeah, I don't know. There's way more murder in this film than I was anticipating. When you said at the start, it's a 15. I'm not sure. Oh yeah, I think I remember I was 15. I was like, my God, there are so many reasons this is a 15. I mean, it should be an 18.
There's only one murder. I will keep repeating that.
Your Honor. Yeah.
On the ending, interestingly, on the DVD copy that I have, it actually ends as the kid is like tormenting the turtle, and then he rows the boat out. The film actually ends. So it wasn't until I was doing like research and stuff that I found out about the extra 3 minutes where he's stuffing the rocks into the animals' mouths. So like you kind of, you get the fact that it's still got that Sicilian notion because he's tormenting the turtle or the tortoise. But actually the DVD ends there, which is like apparently the Western kind of version that they cut the forcing the stones into the animals. So then I looked it up on YouTube, and I would say that is more extreme, and it does it does change a lot of the movie. But
completely.
Yeah.
It's crazy. There's even a point when the master is talking and he says, they're talking about obviously the girl's arrived and he's lusting after her and he's connected to her because obviously he hasn't seen a girl before. And the master says that lust turns to possess, turns to murder. And I was like, where is that list coming from? Why have we gone from lust to murder? There's no wonder this guy ends up killing someone.
Doesn't Yoda say that at some stage? I'm sure that's
yeah.
Sure that's a Star Wars line.
And look how many people died in Star Wars. Oh, so many. Yeah, it was. I honestly, I was in such a nice Zen mode, ready to watch this after you'd set me up. And I was just like, I can't believe how terrible everyone is on this island.
But isn't that for me is the lesson is like that it's being Zen on the inside, like, and it's not about your surroundings, and it's not external. Like you have to do the work. You have to find the peace inside yourself. It's not like, okay, well, if you put this sort of person in this setting, which I think it is, with you can't deal with the baby, so then you take them to the monastery or you leave them outside the church. Like it's a story that, and obviously it's something that sort of loads of people do because, oh, well, religion will sort it out and they'll be fine if they're brought up by priests and, random Buddhists on a monastery on a lake. And you're like, no, that's not the case at all. Like it's actually, it's sort of, for me, again, it's sort of saying, like, trying to demystify it and saying, look, just because it's a beautiful monastery doesn't mean that you're going to be, be all right. If you go up there, you've got to actually do the stuff, and you've got to actually kind of believe and sense that. And I think that for me sort of still comes through.
I think there's like, the more I think about it, the more I think I've realized there must be two islands, and this is murderers camp, and there's a Buddhist one as well. And they've accidentally keep taking all the kids to murderers camp. And it's like, guys, you should have read the door. It says on the door in big letters.
It's nature. It's nature over nurture, though, as well, isn't it? Like that's Is it that the kids just bad? Is it that they're isolated? If you don't have access to something, does that then mean that that you're actually like pure of spirit? Or obviously in this case, the first time that you get the chance to do anything, then you're going to take it. And I think that's
he definitely didn't need to do murder. I think that really does change the film quite a bit for me. But I get what you're saying, and I think there's a point, isn't it? At the spring, as he's going through and he's a kid, it's quite playful. Obviously, they start adding in the pieces in with the frog and the fish and the snake, and I guess you kind of think, that could have been down to obviously the kid starting to get bored. There's not probably not as much to do, and he's just a kid playing around as well. They don't understand as much at that point, and that's where almost like the lessons start coming in. Like, hold on a minute, and obviously brings in the rock on his back, and I feel like at that point it's like, okay, there's lessons learned here, and it's serene and it's fine. And you're right, maybe then when you get to sort of summer, autumn, then he's like, okay, it's too much now. You needed to leave because you were fine, and then we've taken you to an extreme level now, and we tormented you by bringing a girl in as well, and then consequently, you've decided this is all going to go terribly wrong.
But I think it's a really great showing, though, like that he's like, oh, you know what, I'm going to teach you that if you do bad things to something, then bad things happen to you, which could arguably be that the kid and then the like teenage, he basically, what he learns from that is, okay, if something hurts you, then you should hurt it back in a in an appropriate way. Or like if even with the kind of going up and putting the Buddha on the mountain with the rock, basically what he's taken from that is, well, you have to be strong enough that if you get a stone tied to you, you have to be able to overcome that. And I don't think that's what the priest was meaning to teach him at all. But that's what he learned from it, was like, okay, if you do something bad, then something bad happens to you. If someone else does something bad, then it's fine for me to do something to you. And it's almost like the opposite of what the priest was trying to teach him. But that's what he learned.
But then I feel like I mean, obviously from the fact that what the actions he takes.
Yeah.
But I thought that, at the time he learns it, right? Like the snake dies and the fish dies and he's sort of crying over them. I mean, he's crying over the snake. I mean, I'm from Australia. That's a bad idea. Never cry over snakes.
Snakes are quite important in Buddhism, just as an FYI.
Well, we've got loads here. Come and take them. And so, yeah, I think he understands it at that point. He's like, I understand the concept of what I've done and the impact I've had. But yeah, you're right. But then he decides to twist that into something else as he gets older.
Yeah. And again, for me, that's because it is that thing of like, I mean, with kids, you can be trying to teach them something and they will learn something completely different because you're not all powerful, right? And that's, I mean, there's an argument that the teacher doesn't actually stop him from tying the stones to the animals. Obviously, there's a strong hint that the teacher is reincarnated as a snake because obviously the snake's in the clothes and stuff. Like after he's died, does he get reincarnated as the snake? Because actually he didn't stop the boy killing the snake, and he kind of used it as a lesson. And you're like, well, but you're a Buddhist. You're supposed to like protect all life, and you just let this kid like just to teach him a lesson. You've let this kid like kill three animals. So
only two. The frog survives.
The frog survives.
Yeah. But then this is perfectly why this works out into my theory that this is murderer's camp and that he was a murderer himself, the master. So he doesn't mind that the fish and the snake have died because he's like, I've done worse things than this. This is fine. This is all right.
Maybe.
So
maybe. I mean, the way that I saw it, basically, spring is Home Alone. Summer is Dirty Dancing. Autumn is basically any early Adam Sandler movie because it's just angry.
Autumn is like Squid Games. It begins.
It's just very angry. I mean, when you have a murder weapon, don't bring it with you and then be carving stuff when the police turn up. That's not going to go well.
Oh my God.
Winter is a little bit like Leon because he's just by himself, like training, and then things come in. And then the second spring is just it's very short on the DVD version. I thought the summer piece there was a lot of Dirty Dancing homage played throughout. Just crazy kids, the awkwardness of a boy being like, you want to catch a fish? Here's a fish. That means we get to touch your boob, and you're like, no, that's not it.
It's not what happened. Yeah, I had like spring was like serene. I really enjoyed spring. I was really settled in at that point and did not expect this horror movie at that point. Summer was a bit tumultuous. It was it's starting to get a little bit creepy. A little bit. We're not really sure what's going to happen.
A little bit creepy. It's quite. It's pretty creepy.
It's very creepy. Yeah, I'll try and be nice to your film. Autumn, Squid Games for sure. Winter, Hunger Games, where he's training for the future Squid Games, and then the final spring murder camp is established because the next child is filling the animals with stones. So
maybe just stop dropping kids off at monasteries and thinking they're gonna be fine.
Yeah, I feel like maybe that monastery shouldn't be there. It's it's a little bit concerning, but yeah. So all right, so we've detoured slightly, but. So what was it that you specifically liked then about it?
Well, I think there is one shot of in Autumn where it's behind him, kind of framed by the door, and you see the monastery's actually moving quite a lot, and that is it has to be one of my favorite shots in cinema. It's such a brilliant shot, and I think it is it's just really, really great. I think there's layers to this film that just keep going down. Like you can see it as a Buddhist like allegory, and you can see it as a criticism of Buddhism as well. Like there's so much more depth even on this watch than kind of before, because you notice different details and stuff like that, and it's very interpretive. You can kind of keep watching it, and seeing different things. And then obviously, you know, the cops turn up, and it's classic. One's in a leather coat, one's in a tan coat. So
yeah,
it's almost like you know, a Korean Limitless in many ways.
yeah. And then they're like, oh, there's not really much going on in Korea. We can just sit here and paint this decking for a day.
It's only one murder, they're saying to each other.
Yeah, exactly. Well, no, because they know, they read the sign on the door, and they're like, welcome to murderer's camp. So they knew where you'd be, and they know where to stay. Yeah, that was quite funny that they turned up looking like that, and then they randomly just shooted their guns off. But it's almost like there's something poisonous about this place. As you get into it, they then become like, you know, I don't know, like just boys with toys or something, where they're just sitting there trying to shoot their guns randomly into a can in the water.
Yeah.
So I'm telling you, there's something. I don't think I could ever watch this again. This is disturbing, and and the thing that makes it worse for me is that it's not like Scream, where it's supposed to be like a horror or thriller, or, you know, that big comedy laced in there. It's supposed to be a nice film, and all I see are these terrible things happening to the whole film.
I'm not sure it's supposed to be a nice film, but I think it is that again, even with that, like the cops being in a serene neighborhood and in a monastery, it doesn't change them. Like it doesn't. Being there or being anywhere doesn't change you. Like what you are inside is what you are inside, and that's what you have to work on, and that's what you have to concentrate on. Like just being in a pretty place, or being, you know, when people go on holiday and they're like, oh well, if only I lived by the beach, then I'd be a completely different person. And then they move to the beach and they're still the same as they were before, and you know, because it just doesn't matter. Like everywhere you go, there you are. So it's. I
think it's just without the extreme murder, it's really hard to get into that message when
this really haunted you. This I mean, the woman falling through the ice is obviously like that's the shocking one. I think the murder, obviously I
thought the murder was pretty shocking. I didn't expect you to go and murder her.
You didn't think that he was gonna murder someone? I mean, he seemed pretty angry, and he seemed pretty
it did seem pretty
weird. Do you think it's the same woman that was on the monastery? Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, that's because it's never kind of said.
No, but you kind of sort of presume that's what it is. But yeah, you're right. Maybe. I guess you don't know for certain.
I think it could. I don't think he would have been a good boyfriend to anyone. So it could have been someone else.
It's just man. It's just, I think because I was expecting something so completely different, and I get what you're saying. There are those messages in there, but it's really hard to call those out when the theme is like when he does the murder, and then you start going back, oh yeah, because he was a bit creepy when she was there, and then you go back a bit further, oh yeah, and then he did torment all the animals, and so then you're thinking, oh god, yeah, and then obviously you get the bit at the end with the kid. And then you're like, whoa, okay, right. So we've got another one. So was the master one as well? And that's why he kills himself, because he's like, I tried to repent myself. It didn't work. I tried to repent this boy. It hasn't worked. I'm going to burn myself to death.
Yeah. So, well, that's also, I mean, self-immolation is also a Buddhist thing, to be fair. Yeah. So although setting yourself on fire on a boat with a hole in it, it's kind of sending mixed messages, isn't it?
Yeah.
In some ways,
I kind of want to do it, kind of don't want to do it. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the question that I had over everything was the prison that they sent him to. They must have been very big on ice sculpture, because when he comes back, he's really good at ice sculpture. And I'm sure he must have learned that.
That's where the film should have been there. It should have been like, look at the rehabilitation. Yeah, you know, well, this is how we're helping people, you know, get through those difficult times. Where
him versus Bill Murray. I love all the doors. I love the fact that like they still use doors with no walls. That's that's great. And obviously, there's probably, there's meaning or there's not meaning, or like if you stick a door in that everyone uses without walls, you're pretty sure that someone's going to interpret that as having meaning. Maybe the director meant it, maybe he didn't, but he's just like, you know what? let's stick in a door.
The doors everywhere.
Everyone will read into something like that. So that was good. The winter bit and the woman falling in the ice. I don't think I remembered that you never find out who the woman is. Like she never takes off her scarf.
No.
And that's
random.
That's an interesting choice. Is it random, or is it like is that the woman that was actually at the monastery before? I don't know. Like because when he sort of goes to take it off, she sort of stops him and touches his hand in like an intimate way, and I was just like, oh, okay. And then when he takes it off, when he's got her back out of the ice, then the camera pulls away, so he knows who she is. But like you never find out as the watcher, which is an interesting.
You don't really see any emotion on his face, would you? Because you presume that if it had been her, there would have been some emotion.
Well, unless he's getting to a place where he's not as attached to emotion, because
then again,
that's kind of the point, right? Is that he's not attached to it.
Oh, I mean, this is making this film worse for me.
Considering how many like action movies with like hundreds of deaths. What is the 100 top 100? You really took this hard that this one murder happened.
If you'd have said to me, right, this week we're watching Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Okay, cool. I know what this is. I'm not going to enjoy it because I'm not really a horror person. But okay, I understand what's going to happen, and it's going to be gory and gruesome. This, it sent me one way, and then just psychologically damaged me from the inside. It's like, what has happened?
I'm gonna have to think of a horror movie to put on the list, and then be like, no, this week it's gonna be nice and tranquil. It's a comedy. It's a romantic comedy.
I'll be
and then just see what happens.
This anymore. Was there anything that you thought that dated the film well or not? I didn't think there was much, right? As you said previously, because a lot of it is just sort of held in this remote place of the world. There's not really any, and it's serene. It's almost like where people go to nowadays as a retreat. I was kind of thinking, would this be number one on Airbnb for remote escapes?
I mean, maybe during summer. I think it looks a bit chilly during winter, to be honest with you.
Yeah. With all the other months, you might end up getting some dubious thoughts come through. But yeah, was there anything that you thought that dated it?
No, I mean the only thing is like one of the cops has a flip phone, which obviously could be a new Samsung flip phone. Who knows? It might be actually up to date. So that was the only thing that dates it at all. Like without that, you don't know if it's set like 100 years in the past, or if you don't know if it's or if it's contemporary. So I think that's something. Was there anything else that you noticed?
No, I think you're right. Like obviously it is designed to be that sort of serenity, and it didn't seem like you said, there's nothing that could date it, because it could have been now where powerboats are available, speedboats, but actually it's like, well, no, the whole point of the serenity is it's just a rowboat. And so it's the whole point of it is that it's removing all of that stuff away. And so, I think you're right. There's nothing really that I thought that dated it.
It'd be pretty difficult to get a powerboat up to that lake as well. It looked like the roads were pretty small. So
I'm thinking you get the Fast and the Furious team in, they'll probably chopper that in, drop the speedboat onto it, take this guy out probably with a nuclear bomb, even though it's just one guy, and then they'll sit on the hill and watch the nuclear explosion and somehow not get any radiation. So
you've already thought of the remake.
Is this the new film? Yeah. What about if you're going to describe this plot to an alien then?
Well, I mean, I just thought it's the classic boy meets girl, girl leaves temple, boy steals rooster, leaves temple, boy murders girl, boy has to do woodwork, man murders himself, boy collects teeth of man, girl dies, new boy arrives, man takes statue to the top of mountain, right? It's
the classic.
It's one of the stories it's just been told throughout time.
Oh my God, that is so true. Yeah. The other thing you just mentioned there, I just put, I'll do mine quickly because I've already mentioned it really. I just put, followed the new recruit of murderers camp. The teeth. I thought that was the teeth, right? He collects the master's teeth from the eyes.
Yeah.
How are you not seeing that this is Squid Games? It's just
Well, that's that
awful.
again. That's a Buddhist thing of when in cremation, like it's teeth, but it's supposed to also be like the holy sort of parts of a master that you collect, and if there isn't a lot of them, then that means that they have actually reincarnated or possibly gone to nirvana. So that's that's a religious thing, to be fair.
So
But
this is
the
this
ice
is a good
sculpting
life
with
lesson
that
for me.
is
then.
amazing.
The what? Sorry.
The ice sculpting is just amazing, though. It does well.
Yeah, it looks great, doesn't it? And he still looks a little like the actor they brought in. He looks a little bit mean. The new actor for
Well, that's actually the director. Funnily enough.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Well, this explains everything.
Yeah,
That guy looks like he's got anger ready to explode.
With a bit of research this time, yeah, that guy, the director's not a good guy, and he's actually almost the Harvey Weinstein of Korean movies. It turns out, so that that does put another edge to it, which I had no idea about when I first watched it. Which
and then the master, he's also in Squid Games.
Yeah.
I saw that he's also in trial for sexual misconduct as well.
No, really? Yeah.
Yes. So,
yeah.
Not that we're going to completely trash this film for you, Andy, but I'm getting close.
Well, the separation between artist and and the art is an interesting one. But that's it's not good.
Yeah. All right,
I guess what question barring how to murder people, but what question do you think it brought up?
Well, murderers breed murderers. That was the first thought I sort of had. It is that they seem to be coupled on. Too much inner peace leads you to murder.
They don't have. I think as a fundamental of the film, we have to presume that this is the fact that they haven't got inner peace that is the result of is what happens, right? It's the fact that they don't have inner peace that they go around murdering people rather than the other way around.
I don't know. Like, I mean, if he hadn't been on here, would he have murdered more people? Is that the question? I mean, maybe he slowed him down a little bit. I don't know. And then the only other question it asked for me was clearly frogs are legends. It was the only one that could cope with a stone. So
yeah.
What about you?
It made the string too long.
He made it too long. Wow. You need to go to this camp.
I think there's lots of questions that it does bring up. One of the ones though, I think is how do you teach people? Because I do I think with the spring, and then like literally what the person's learned, as I said, is like if someone puts a stone around you, you have to be tough enough to keep going anyway. And you're like, no, I don't think that was the lesson he was. I don't think that's the lesson that he was teaching you. And it's like, it is. It is actually. If you have a stone in your heart, then you have to be tough. And you're like, was that? And I think if you, as an example, have a point A and a point B on a frozen lake, and you know, where is the best point to break some ice so that you can have a wash? And I think we can all agree that directly in the line between point A and point B,
but
probably isn't the ideal place to put it. You maybe put it off to the left somewhere where someone's not going to just walk on it.
So hold on a minute. So you're right. Everyone would think you wouldn't do that. Has he done that? Has he done that deliberately? Is this murder number 2?
It's like a Rambo thing where he's left booby traps.
He's like, I remember when my mum dropped me off, and I resent her for that, and consequently, I resent you for doing this to your baby, and I'm going to kill you too.
It's just a very early Wim Hof example. Obviously, he was going ice diving.
Yeah, just pushing it to the edge. Yeah.
So I presume when we say about the most fun genre, you think this is a horror. So therefore, you think actually like the fun genre to change it would be like a nice philosophical thing. It'd be so much better than the horror.
That would be so nice. I would love to watch this again in serenity and just be really happy and finish watching this thinking, I feel so nice and like relaxed and enjoyable now. Yeah, no,
It's
I mean,
harder than that. That's the point. It's harder than that. It's not just
well,
about going somewhere pretty. It's
I
not
get
just
that.
about
I
the
think
the easy lesson.
but it's just the extreme version of, well, it's we're just going to do murder. There's so many other things they could have shown as the life lesson. But yeah, for me, the only other thought I did think was maybe it could be like sci-fi, and it's kind of like an experiment gone wrong type thing. And so it's sort of like trying. I think they've already done something similar to this, trying to fix people, as it were, with science or microchip or something, and then obviously it's being like, no, that's not how things work. But yeah, what about you? What fun genre did you think about? Horror?
It'd just be too unrealistic. It'd be too unrealistic as horror.
Yeah, it would never happen.
I thought sci-fi. I thought it'd just be funny just to like have a random eye like pop out of the water in the background somewhere, or like the lake has monsters in it or something. So
yeah, that would be good. Like something just to entice you into what else might be happening.
Just something in the background, like it's just part of the scenery.
It's almost like Lord of the Rings, like Sauron, just sort of like watching over you.
Gollum maybe in the background, scampering down off a tree.
Which character would you most like to be?
I mean,
which one of the murderers?
I mean, I think the cop in the leather jacket. I think he seemed nice. He helped him with the candle, which again I'm not sure was entirely necessary, but he helped him with the candle. He got the paint out. I mean, we haven't even discussed the old master painting with the cat's tail. That's a bit of a strange. That's a bit strange, has to be said.
Yeah, there were some bizarre things in here. I did like the fact that I thought this was quite interesting how obviously they have to age them to try and show that in the film. I was like, it kind of feels like they're basically aging in dog years, and yet the cat didn't. So I was like, it was a nice little variation there. The
well, it's a different animal each. It's a different animal each season. It's not the same cat.
Yeah, but it doesn't. But obviously, it's a cat, right? It's hard to tell if a cat like ages unless it's really old.
Well, no, but it's the cat's only in autumn. It's not in. It's a dog to begin with, and then it's a rooster.
No, there's the cat's at the start in spring as well because he's chasing the cat.
It's a dog.
You reckon that's a dog?
Yeah, it's a dog. It's a different animal. It's a different animal in each one. Believe me. Yeah, it's a different animal.
We'll put that as a poll for people to tell us whether they think
just go back and watch
cat or a dog.
Because spring was before the horror started. The darkness, the nightmares.
Everyone, stop watching this after the first spring. For me, how
about you?
Well, it had to be the frog, right? It had to be. I mean, frogs are great anyway. I mean, he doesn't love frogs. They're always awesome. And then it survives, boot camp. So
then it survives the murderers. I mean, not really many lines.
No,
not many many lines in the movie. So we can maybe just jump onto the reviews. So some really great 3-star reviews this week. So one of them, interesting film starring the old guy from Squid Game as the Buddhist master, but unfortunately not the greatest image quality on this version. Looks kind of pixelated in places, and the color is washed out. A shame. Some of the cinematography is great, beautiful. As for the actual story, it's a great deal tougher and harder edged than the gentle and sweet film I was expecting. Maybe someone else was there in that one.
Exactly. We seen it. Yeah,
that's the thing. Yeah, it was a lot more hard edged. This was a great one. The story was good in its concept, but to be honest, to do the storyline and the movie itself justice, this movie needed to be at least another hour long.
Yeah, I
really?
saw that.
I don't think it needs to be that long.
I don't think I'd have survived another hour.
Did you also then read the meandering 1,400 word 3-star review on there, where he or she was like, this film, I'm just going to write my thoughts, and then proceeded to write an entire essay and couldn't decide whether they liked it or not. Did you read that one?
I did, yeah. And you're kind of questioning what is wrong with people. Have they got too much time on their hands just to basically spill out their thoughts onto a page in the form of a review on Amazon?
Yeah.
And then and did they rate the film 3 stars, or did they rate their review 3 stars?
Well, so this is the last sentence is 3 out of 5 stars, just because you have to give some rating. And that means the most meaningless thing to me when I don't know what to rate. It could easily have been 7 out of 2 stars, or truthfully and accurately, 0 out of 10 stars, or just as truthfully and accurately, 10 out of 10 stars, 100% or nearly. Sorry if that doesn't make much sense to you. I don't know how else to say it. What an enigma.
Wow. This guy, that's the little kid at the end. The little kid at the end. He's written that review.
They were as confused as you were about it.
Well, not confused. It's clear as day. This is murderer's camp.
I mean, I think one of the messages is you take from these things whatever you see, and that it's open to interpretation. And all you saw were murderers. Maybe I should be worried about you.
I'm worried that you think you're like, this seems fine, this murdering business going on. This is all right.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure that the guy coming back is the role model here. I'm not sure. Like, I had crossed out the kid stroke priest as the character I'd most like to be, but I decided that the pod was going in a different direction. So just made up that wants to be someone else. No, it's obviously it's not a role model. I'm not saying
clearly. No, and even the master, right? The master, you could have thought, oh, maybe he'd like to be the master, but no, I wouldn't say he's really a role model either. Which is, like I said, it really leads to the deep meaning that this is murderer's camp. So we'll see. Do you think it would be?
But that's the thing. Again, it shies away from just being like, and everything works out and everything's perfect, and all that you need is to be like a wizened old monk on a monastery in the mountains, and everything's great. And it doesn't give you the easy answers like that. It does. Loads of stuff does go wrong, and it is much more about it takes away all of the magic and the sort of supernatural, which is then interesting because they then have the supernatural bit, right, with the boat, and kind of calling the boat, which is a very interesting choice to then have. Like, you spend the entire film, like sort of almost dismissing the sort of magic of these types of films, and then to have that, I think is a strange choice.
Yeah, I think you just didn't need that because it didn't add anything at all.
No,
so I think you would have just removed that. It's just it was just strange for me the first time I watched it, and the problem is more of these sort of scenes happen where you start questioning yourself about the main character.
Yeah.
And I start going back and thinking, okay, remember he did get a bit creepy when the girl was there, and then you start thinking what it was like as a kid.
That's quite an understatement, if you don't mind me saying.
Well, okay. I'll try not to ruin this film for you.
I love when he just sort of he turns the corner and he's like, "Oh, I didn't expect to see you here," and you're like, you're literally on the 10 by 10 meter thing in the middle of the like you were gonna bump into this person. It's like, play it cool. And it's like a Kevin and Perry sketch.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, and I think if they just didn't have the piece and I know what you're saying about the life lessons and stuff, but I just think because they put it back at the end as well, the extra kid at the end.
Yeah,
it just felt then when I thought back across the whole film, it laced in these little drops across all the way back of dropping in of what these kids were like. And that's what I think. And it was basically saying this kid's the same as what the original kid was, which I don't think that was a good thing to have done because, okay, I get the point that, maybe just dropping people off at a monastery is not going to make them, great people necessarily. I mean, they may be or they may not be, but, it doesn't mean that is the solution. but the fact that he's sort of cruel again, and so it's the same scenario. You're sort of like, that was where I think it linked everything back to me, and I thought, oh, actually, this feels like this is just a breeding camp for
psychotics.
for people in Squid Games.
Maybe it is supposed to be like that. Maybe it is like The Shining, and it's that solitary just being on your own makes Johnny a dull boy, whatever it is that he's typing on the typewriter.
Yeah. All right. So, do you think it'd be better or worse if it came out today?
Well, I think I up until literally yesterday when I had a podcast about the director, I think it probably would have done better because Korean cinema's in a much better place. Obviously, Parasite won the Oscar and Squid Games did really well. So I was like, yeah, no, this would do a lot better now, I think, if it came out now. Again, because it is kind of timeless and ageless, I don't think it doesn't seem sort of dated. Obviously, probably with the director now, who actually died of COVID. So probably do about the same. But I think that it could come out now, and I think be exactly the same. Like there's literally, I think it could come out whenever, because there's nothing that actually dates it.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think obviously barring the questionable activities of the director and see the master as well. I think if they were changed, then I think you're right. I think with the that sort of Korean pop at the moment is going really well. I think you're right. I think it would do quite well if it came out now.
Even the king knows the names of the K-pop people. Everyone seems to be amazed by that. Not that he was just given some notes to read before the speech. It's like, no, he knows them. Well, he probably just learned the speech, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Did you look at anything around sort of similar movies to this? I was trying to think if there would be anything.
I mean, Letterboxd had Little Buddha and I think Kandan, which is around the Dalai Lama and stuff. So it was very sort of Buddhist centric. Even though I don't think that this is. I don't think you can read this as a straight kind of Buddhist film. I think actually. No.
Yeah, established that.
Yeah, I think actually it's more parody of that, or not parody, like criticism of it. And then two other ones, Or Hassad Balthazar, which is a very strange European movie that's all about a donkey that like ends up in like different situations. I've not actually seen it, but it's like I think it's like top 20 in BFI's best films ever, and I've not seen it, but whenever I read it, I'm like, that sounds really weird. And then Uncle Boomy, who can recall his past lives, which I have seen, and is a very, very strange film. And actually, I watched it at the BFI Film Festival, and then there was a Q&A with the director afterwards, and me and my wife decided to sneak out because we were like, that was just crazy. We don't really want to sit here and do the Q&A. As the director was coming in, so we kind of literally bumped into him and bundled into him, and then afterwards, I was like, that was the director going in to do the Q&A, and we were sneaking out.
We were leaving.
He could literally see us sneaking out. We could see us sneaking out.
That's good.
So I think I think the algorithm maybe kind of just about gets away with that.
It's a tough one. Yeah, I mean, obviously I'd have Scream on that list. A few other
Shining
pieces. Yeah, definitely The Shining. Actually, you're right. That is exact. This is the exact same. All right. So, I mean, I don't know whether I should ask this question. I'm worried, but is it still on the top 100? And if so, where is it placed?
Yeah, it is for sure. I like it. I do think it has depth. I do think that it even funnily enough on like the third or fourth watching it, makes you question things a lot more. Is it like I'm wondering like as far as murders or deaths are concerned. Again, I mean, Limitless has the weird death. You didn't seem to blink an eye at that about whether he's actually murdered the person that he spent the night with.
Yeah, I mean, we do believe he definitely did murder that person, and it's such a weird. They do not need to add that bit into the film at all. I'm trying to remember if it was in the book, but because it doesn't help add to the film at all. But that's an action movie, right? This is not. It's not about monks on a monastery.
It's about dashed expectations rather than the murder itself.
Well,
it was
also. I would say as well, the percentage of people in this film who get murdered is much higher than the percentage of people in Limitless.
Yeah, I guess so. It is a high percentage.
So would it move up the list?
No, I think I'm quite happy with where it is. It would probably shuffle down a little bit, just because obviously, yeah, we've had a couple of ones go much higher. So yeah, I think it's at 85. 85 at the moment. Yeah, number 85 at the moment. We're definitely keeping track of this. So I think it would kind of go down to about 88. I think is the next available number. So I'm happy with it. I'm happy with it there.
Yeah, I'm trying to think when I'm gonna order these films as well, whether this would be below Juliet naked and looking for Eric for me.
Oh, really? And you number one
100.
Yeah. Wow.
It's just the damage is done to me. Like, I was not prepared for this. I was so ready for something nice, and I opened my heart ready to welcome Serenity, and just got bashed to death with a statue.
Well, I think Belly Shaw got stabbed, considering he's carrying the knife around with him still.
Oh yeah, this is round 2. You know, coming back for summer.
Yeah. Okay. Well, there we go. I feel like I should stop selling the film in the first half. I think maybe I need to go much more neutral, so that maybe I need to downplay a film. I mean, it is my top 100, so it's pretty obvious that I really like it. But maybe,
I think
maybe next time.
There must be some kind of list online to find out if you're immune to murder. And I think you should do that test and then tell us the results.
There's an online psychopath test I have seen. I think that went round a few years back on emails and stuff. Yeah. Well, I mean, after last week as well of I pitched Clueless quite a lot in the first half as well. And it just needs to play it cool. Play it cool. Trick, play it cool. For the next one I'll be like, so quite funny. But I think you've seen the next one. So we'll have to see who's coming into the shop to watch it with us, because I'm fairly sure that you've seen it. So thanks as ever for Tom Evans for the themed song, and we'll catch you next week.